Hey guys, Liz Hogan here with STX. Today I'm going to be taking you through a tutorial with this Crux 600 and their new Crux Mesh Pro. You'll notice the Crux Mesh Pro is the first STX full mesh pocket that has larger diamonds up top and smaller diamonds down low so that the ball really stays in that sweet spot. It also comes with a weather weave that'll help you play consistently in any weather condition. Check out the description below for all the materials you'll need, and once you have them, we'll get started on our top string. So to start for our top string, we need to do a double overhand knot. So again, we're going to make those 2 loops and then just bring our string through it, making it nice and tight. We're then going to take our mesh, okay, and you're going to first identify the end that has the larger holes. So we have big holes up here, much smaller holes down here. We want to make sure that the bigger holes are towards the scoop of the head, smaller holes are towards the throat of the head. We're then going to need to fold our mesh. So you'll see that there are some rows of 6 diamonds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and some of 7. We want to take our first row of 6 and fold it over so that it matches the next row of 6. Okay, and you'll notice that I have that rough side of the mesh already ready to face down. So we're going to fold backwards. Okay. So we're going to take that top string, bring it through the first hole, and then we're going to go up from the front side of the mesh in that first hole, and then we're actually going to go back through that sidewall hole again. Okay. And back up through that diamond. So this is going to secure the mesh to the side of the head. So again, all we did was we just put our top string through the hole, went down into the mesh, came back out, and came back up. So now when you do our top string, we're going to go through our first scoop hole, going from the back of the head to the front of the head, and then we're going to come back up through the next hole of mesh. So you can see we got our next hole here. So we're going to come back up, and we're going to come back always closer to that first knot. And that's going to help secure. Okay, repeat the same process, but go the opposite direction. So now we're going to go through the mesh first, up through that first hole from the front to the back, and we see we have this loop here. We're going to bring the string through the loop and pull tight. We're going to repeat the process. Down, coming up, again closer to that first knot, pulling tight, then repeat the process in the opposite direction. Through the mesh, up through that scoop hole, through the hole. You may need to shift the mesh a little bit closer to the opposite side because it will tend to gravitate towards the side you're stringing from. So we're going to go to our next scoop hole and our next diamond, going down, coming back up, pulling tight, down, and back up, through that loop, again pulling tight. Then we have our last scoop hole, go down, back up, through the mesh, back up through that hole, pulling tight. And then we need to repeat the same thing that we did on that first sidewall hole. Okay, so we're going to go down through the mesh, through the sidewall hole, and then just repeat the process. So back down through the mesh, out the hole, and then pull tight. So you really want to make sure you can see the top of the mesh is secure against the sidewall because we pull tight, and then just another double overhand knot to secure everything in place. And that is your top string. So it should be nice and tight. It should have everything connected. Hey guys, Liz Hogan here again. Now, since we finished our top string, we're going to move on connecting the mesh to your sidewall. All right. So to start our sidewall string, we're going to repeat the same process that we did with our top string. We're going to make a double overhand knot. We're going to start at that second hole, so the first open one. And then in our first row of free diamonds, we're going to repeat the same process. So we're going to come up through the mesh, and then back around again. Okay, so we can see that now we got that mesh nice and tight. Now we're gonna skip a hole on the sidewall. We're gonna bring our sidewall string from the outside, keeping a little bit of a loop, coming up the mesh. And then all we're gonna do is we're then gonna fold this piece back over and bring our string through this way. So it should go from the outside to the inside. And pull tight. And we have our knot, which is also called an anchor knot. All right, so now we're gonna repeat the exact same process. We're gonna skip a hole. We're gonna take our sidewall string, go from the outside to the inside, coming up that next row of 7 diamonds. We're gonna take our loop, move it over so that our string can go from the outside to the inside. And pull tight. So the next step we're gonna do is pretty difficult, so follow along closely. We're gonna take our sidewall string and we're gonna go straight through the mesh first, so we're not going through the sidewall. We're gonna go in that first hole from the back side down, and repeat it again. So the next row of mesh, same thing. Down, coming back up. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come from the inside of the head to the outside through this gap here, okay? And we wanna keep it pretty loose right now. We're then gonna take our sidewall string and go from the outside to the inside, skipping a hole just like as we've done before. And then we're gonna go back up the holes that we just came from, okay? So we're gonna go up this hole to the inside, and then we're gonna pull tight. Now we're gonna repeat that process, but now we're gonna do it only with 1 diamond. So we're gonna go down the next free diamond, through the gap in the head, and then we're gonna, instead of skipping one, we're gonna go right through this next one. So we're gonna go through here, and then we need to come back up this same diamond. So we're gonna come back up, going from the inside to the outside, and then locking off. Repeat that process one more time, going from the back side to the bottom side. We're gonna come through this gap now, going through the next hole. Again, we're not skipping now. And then again, we need to come back up through this hole, going from the inside to the outside. Okay, we have to do it one more time, going from the back side to the front side, going here in the gap, and now we are going to skip another hole. Okay, so we're going to skip that hole, come back up, go back up our diamond of mesh, making sure we go from the inside to the outside, and then we're going to simply tie off. So all that means is for our next hole, we're going to go from the back side to the front side, go through that last hole, and then just as we did up top, we're gonna go back around again. So from the back side to the front side, and out. And then we're just gonna lock off. So double knot, double overhand knot here, and tie off. So that is your first sidewall, and then we just need to repeat the same process over on the other sidewall. So to repeat the process again, we're going to do a double overhand knot. We're going to come through here, that second hole. We're going to find our first row of 7 diamonds, come up, and go back through. Same process from the outside to the inside. And then we're gonna do our anchor knot. So you can see we skipped a hole here. We did our knot. So we're gonna skip a hole, go from the outside to the inside, coming up the mesh. And again, we have this loop. We're gonna throw it to the outside right now. And then we're gonna pull, bring that loop here, and then go from the outside of the head to the inside of the head. pulling tight. Repeat that same process again. We're going to skip a hole. Go from the outside to the inside, coming up the next diamond of mesh. From the outside to the inside, up the mesh, bring that loop over, go from the outside to the inside, and pull tight. It's extremely important that these first couple knots are super tight. Okay, so now for our difficult knot. We're gonna go down the mesh, pull, down the next row of mesh, pull. So it's very simple, like that. You're gonna take your string, guide it through the gap in the sidewall. So you can see, just gapped it through there. And then we're gonna skip a row from the outside to the inside. And then again, bring it up these diamonds again. So up this diamond, up this diamond. Okay, making sure you go all the way up from the inside to the outside, and then pull tight. So it should look like that when you finish. Then we're gonna repeat the same process, but now we're just gonna use one diamond at a time. So we're gonna go down the diamond, through the gap in the sidewall. Just as on the other side, we're not gonna skip a hole here. So we're gonna go through that next hole, and then we're gonna come up the mesh. Pulling tight. Repeat the same process. Go down the mesh. Now going through the second gap of sidewall. You see we're coming back through the gap. Going through the next hole. And then coming back up the mesh. Do that one more time, going through the mesh. We're gonna skip a hole. So we're gonna go through here, through the sidewall gap, through that skipping hole. And then again, we need to come back up through the mesh from the inside to the outside, making sure that we pull tight. And then we're just gonna tie off. So we're gonna go through that last hole, through directly through the sidewall from the inside to the outside, and then repeat the process. So through the mesh, and through the inside, to the outside, and then double overhand knot. And that is our sidewall. So you can see we already got a nice little channel there. The last thing we need to do before we can move to our shooting strings is obviously tie off our mesh. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. What we're gonna do for that is we're gonna take another piece of sidewall string or bottom string. We're gonna go through the inside of the throat holes. We're gonna find the first row of 6, so it should be the next row of diamonds directly below the ones that we tied off on. We're gonna go from the front side of the head to the back side of the head, coming up, then going down. You're just gonna go up and down through the whole row of mesh. Okay, and if you find you end with a string coming up, that means you went through a row of 7. You need an even row to come up and go back down. Finish going down, come back through the other inside throat hole, and then just make a simple overhand knot. So you just make a loop and then drive them through. So now we are ready to put in our shooting strings. Hey guys, Liz Hogan here. For our last step, we're going to be moving on to our shooting strings. Okay, so for our shooting strings, we're going to find that first open hole that we have. So it's the third hole down, first one that's open. And we're going to divide our shooting strings up evenly. And just as in all of our other tutorials, we're going to bring our shooting string and just weave it straight across that row of diamonds. So we're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and through the sidewall hole. And then we're going to repeat the same process with the other half of our shooting string. Remember from the videos before, you want to go down closer to the down part of the throat and up towards the scoop. So you're going to go down, come up the next row of diamonds, go up, down towards the throat, up towards the scoop, down towards the throat, up towards the scoop, down towards the throat, and up towards the scoop. And then all you're going to do is just tie off, again with another simple overhand knot, make a loop, bring both ends through, and pull tight. And that's our first shooting string. We're going to start with this open hole here, so it is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th open hole, or 8th hole, the first open one, again in that rigid section. So we can't string a shooting string down here, so our first open hole would be this one. Okay, we're going to follow the same process. Going to drive our string through there, pull it up through the diamond, and then even them out. Okay, then all we're going to do is we're going to follow this diagonal up, go down, up, and then once we reach the row of diamonds right below the one we just strung, we're going to start going across the head. So we're going to go across for 3 diamonds. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go back down our diagonal. So we'll go down, up, down, and then up. And then we're just going to repeat the same process with the other half. So again, anytime we go down, we go closer to the throat. We're going to come back up, closer to the scoop. Down, up. Make sure you squeeze this in here. Go down towards the throat, up towards the scoop, down towards the throat, up towards the scoop, down towards the throat, up towards the scoop, and then we go down towards the throat. And then we're going to bring, since it's on the inside of the head, we're going to use this string to bring it back up through that open hole. And then we're just going to do a simple overhand knot, tie it off. And make a loop, bottom through, and pull tight. And that is your Crux Mesh Pro on your Crux 600.